new bike trick.
Accidents happen. When they do, LaPorte Hospital can help you get on the road to recovery faster. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, we will work to have you initially seen by a medical professional in 30 minutes or less. Less waiting, faster care. 30 minutes or less ER service pledge at LaPorte Hospital.
Mary Anthony, are you ready to rock and roll? Mary Anthony, are you ready to rock and roll on this beautiful fall day? Huh? I am so excited about today's Younger Life Live. Good morning, it is Rick Federici.
And Mary Anthony. We have Ask the Pharmacist today. And
yes.
You know, we missed our last one. Mm-hmm. So it seems like we haven't talked to our friends over at LaPorte Hospital
Why
forever.
did we miss it? Was it our fault or was it the
it's just
holiday?
it's the rearrangement with the holiday and your upcoming vacation. And then 2 weeks later, my upcoming vacation. So we've got a lot going on.
Mary made this comment to me about vacation. She says, I'm so excited for you to go on vacation. I'm like, I'm excited. But like I was saying to Sanders, our executive producer, you get frazzled.
You do.
Because there's so much stuff you want to do before you kick it in. You know what I'm saying?
Well, certainly. And then all of those, any little stray end you have, you know, that deadline that's just kind of, I'll get to that. It's right then. And it is extremely stressful. I find that I'm not the nicest mom and wife right before we're leaving or right before an event is taking place. But I get over the hump and it's a blast.
I honestly, Jeremy, I don't know about
my family
this.
would certainly argue that. But
and my wife would say to me, because we're both in the same boat, like we said to our daughters as we all get ready, are the suitcases packed? Do we got everything ready? Do we have the tickets? Are we ready to rock and roll? And that comes with organization, which is the key to success. Mm-hmm. Like this show. For example, people are asking about your 8x10s for Younger Life Live.
Honestly, that's ridiculous.
So did they get those for you already?
That's ridiculous.
Uh-huh.
I don't even know where I'm at it. I don't even know where we're going to be.
Sanders, did they get you pictures too and me? Sanders, give me the thumbs up. Yeah.
How funny.
They're going to make bullseyes on that just to let you know. Not for you, for
All
me.
of my kids would want one of those for that reason. That's
trade glossies.
Yes, there you go. Sanders, say hi on mic number 3. Come on.
Hi, mic number 3. What's up?
What's going on, Sanders? How are you today?
Doing good.
Good.
The sun's shining. It's a little hazy, but it's not too bad overall. I mean, I'll take this over anything else.
It's gorgeous. It really is. Yeah, me too.
Now
And it's the end of the week already. I mean, what in the world? It's been such a fast week.
He looks pretty good in that camera. Look at how good that is. I say, hey, did you have any coffee yet?
I have not had coffee
yet.
yet.
Because I bet you've been getting an earful since you walked in from all the crazy people around here.
It's tech this, tech that, and I'm like, I'm just trying to swallow some coffee.
You're like Federici this.
Do you know what you say? You say my ears don't work till I've had coffee. I say that occasionally.
It comes in distorted.
I hear nothing until I've had at least a cup of coffee.
We got to get this guy on vacation.
Oh no, I'm excited for him.
We got to get this guy on vacation.
I know you're excited. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for my vacation at the end of the month. It just,
Do you realize that I wanted to call you guys while I'm swimming in the ocean? I want to call you while I'm backpacking. But I don't know if a GoPro would go underwater.
No, I don't think they're waterproof.
Yeah. And I know my daughter said, Dad, I could put the waterproof case on your phone.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of afraid because
don't chance it.
I know.
Yeah, then.
I mean, do you really want to see Rick Federici?
Oh, stop.
Oh, that's what I want. I mean, if you're going to take the chance, take the chance. But,
yeah.
You know, don't break your phone doing it.
Yeah.
For various reasons.
It's fun. So, yeah, we're hoping to maybe Skype on Monday with you. We'll see what's going on. We'll see what you've got going on. And if not, we'll hear all about it when you come back. It'll be a blast.
I could call you.
I was going to say, why not call in every now and again?
Okay. Are you sure you're going to let me through?
No.
Okay.
I'm screening you out. Who's this? Who's this again?
I'm sorry.
There's
What's
too
your
much
name?
wind. Could you roll up your windows, please?
Rick Federici? You're gone. Well,
That's
thank you,
funny.
Sanders, for all that you do for this place and this show.
I do what I can.
We love you. Wait, hold on. All right. Rock and roll. Who's on the Star VIP hotline?
So, due to a little bit of, speaking of tech this and tech that, we're having a little bit of technical issues with our Skype this morning.
Okay.
So we have Jeremy, who's a pharmacist at LaPorte Hospital. He's joined us a few times, and we love him. He's awesome, and he is on the phone line, actually.
Hey, Gucci, let's give you a big hug there, Jeremy. How are you?
Hey, thanks for the hugs, guys. I'm doing pretty good today.
Good morning.
Woo! We love you, Jeremy. How are you doing? How are the kids? How was your 4th? Was it good?
Everything was pretty good. I didn't do anything super exciting. Our kids are still probably a little bit too young to do the whole fireworks thing, so we kind of stayed away from fireworks and that stuff, and maybe next year will be a good year for that. So
How fun.
just had a nice, relaxing weekend with the family.
That's it.
Good.
And you know what? That's priceless all in itself. Just the long weekend, that was fantastic. And then now look how fast we are at the end of the week, and it's weekend time almost.
Thank you. It was a crazy week because of the holiday.
It's been a super busy week, and I feel like I can't keep up. I'm lost on what day it is. We say, we have 4-H today. How did that happen? Or we have this going on today because
today is Saturday. No, just kidding.
I'm just a mess.
Jeremy's like, whoa, wait a minute here. I don't know. Where's my Mary at? And my Norma's going, hey, where's Federici? So talk to me a little bit. We've got a lot of questions that we want to do on this Ask the Pharmacist segment. And there's so many great things. You want to start, Mary, with some of the stuff that we've got brewing?
We had the health department send out the release about the swimmer's itch in our local lakes, especially right there in LaPorte.
Yes.
So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. That wasn't a question someone sent in. That was one of my questions. I wanted to know kind of if you could tell us a little bit about swimmer's itch and if there's actually a product, if you could recommend a product that someone that may be experiencing that might use, or is it something they can go into a pharmacy and purchase, or do they have to see a doctor?
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as a swimmer's itch actually goes, what it is actually a parasite that comes from snails.
Really?
And with most parasites, they have a life cycle, and so their life cycle can continue on in birds and in other kind of rodents and stuff. But in humans, they just die in humans, so their life cycle doesn't continue. So typically, swimmer's itch is really just going to show up as a rash on your body, and it could be itchy, kind of burny. It's going to be like raised small areas, and it's going to be anywhere where you've been in contact with the water that has a infestation of this parasite. It typically does not need medical treatment, so you don't necessarily have to go to your doctor to have this treated, and you can just use over-the-counter products to treat it.
Could you tell us kind of what kind of product? Are we talking like I'm going to throw a name out, like, Caladryl or calamine lotions?
That's what I was thinking.
Or,
first thing that came to mind.
that you would for like a, mosquito bite or another kind of rash maybe, or are you thinking more like a hydrocortisone cream? Like what would someone use?
Yeah, so I would use things to counteract whatever effect that I'm feeling. So if it's more of a burning, I would try to do something that's more soothing. You can use like a benzocaine spray could help with that.
Okay.
Or any kind of lotion that's going to really soothe the burning. You could even use, I had mentioned previously the solar cane that I like for sunburns.
Yeah.
You could probably even use that on it. Would be okay. Hydrocortisone would be fine. That's like an anti-itching cream.
Right.
You can use that on it, and then I would just take, if you're having pain and stuff like that, I would use Tylenol or ibuprofen.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's nice to know too, so they don't have to run out to the doctor. But again, if someone's experiencing serious issues or these little tips are not helping at all, definitely call your doctor.
This is a huge issue, as Mary had pointed out, and I was very concerned because it affects it's nationwide, obviously, and there's a lot of new studies that are coming out. Is that something that, if you get it, is it like and I'm just going to throw this out there as an example, but you would know the answer to this, like a chicken pox where you get it once and then you don't get it again, or is a swimmer's itch something that you could get year after year? I was just curious about that.
Yeah, so the way that I understand the swimmer's itch is that your body can build up a stronger defense towards it the more times you're exposed to it. So people who are more likely to get it are going to be the young children, less than 8 years old, I guess I would say. And then as you get older, you tend to not have it as often. So when you're in your adulthood, you want to get it. And then, of course, as you get older, your immune system doesn't work quite as well. So I would also expect to see it more in the elderly people. There are some precautions you can take, of course, to prevent from having it.
Okay.
And that would be to stay away from areas where there's a lot of birds that sit on that part of the lake, or in that kind of an area, or where these snails may be, which might be more like marshy areas. Also, you can, when you're out swimming, don't feed the birds, because if you're drawing the birds towards where you're swimming, there's a higher chance of that being released in that area.
Wow.
That is awesome information.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I wonder, and I don't want to put you on the spot. I realize you're not a swimmer's itch expert. I'm just curious if you know.
Nor are we doctors.
No, but I wonder how soon then does the rash appear after being out? I mean, we had seen some pictures of it.
Wicked pictures.
Yeah, I mean,
I was like, wow.
It's an ugly rash.
Horrific.
And I wonder how soon. Do you have any clue? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so typically 12 to 24 hours, you should start to see that rash.
Yuck.
Of course, it typically doesn't need medical attention, but again, if it's going on and getting worse and worse, I would seek out medical attention.
Absolutely.
And if you have no relief.
Mm-hmm.
That's great information. We really appreciate that, because really that will help the masses
Right.
that are viewing or listening or whatever here on Younger Life
And
Live.
again, we've said this
Seriously.
numerous times too. If there are warnings or signs up that say stay out of the water, they check the water so regularly. They don't want to keep us out, but if there is a risk, then they're required to let us know. Abide by that. I mean, come on. No one wants to be miserable. I mean, it's like rolling around on purpose in poison ivy or something. I mean, no one wants to be that miserable, and if we can avoid it, just do so. But it's nice to know, Jeremy, that there are products that we can use and, to give you pretty instant relief. That's nice.
If you don't mind me dovetailing off of that, just for a moment,
Yes,
while we're
please.
talking about that kind of stuff, when it comes to poison ivy and some of that, a lot of people, like a lot of us that are doing our yards or cleaning out ditches in front of our places. You may live in an extended piece of land, quarter acre, half acre, where you're literally I'm picking up bottles, I'm picking up stuff. And I know people should be wearing gloves, but let's just say they get a case of what would be poison ivy.
Yeah.
Can you tell what that looks like, for the people out there? And then again, over the counter, I know we've chatted about this briefly before, but would they be able to come in to a pharmacist and say, hey, is this poison ivy? And can you give them some? Can you kind of expand on that a little bit, if you wouldn't mind, just for a moment?
Yeah, I think most of the time a pharmacist can recognize poison ivy, or it might look poison oak. Mm-hmm. Usually, if I don't always recognize what the rash is, I don't necessarily tell them to go to the doctor right away. I would point them to some products that they could try to use. Mm-hmm. And if it gets worse really fast, then I say go to the doctor. So if over the next 48 hours it starts getting worse, or the 24 hours, then go get medical attention. But
Absolutely.
if you put it on and it seems like it's working, you're having relief, it's not getting worse, mm-hmm. then continue to use that and see if it goes away. But as far as what does it really look like, typically when I see poison ivy, it can start to, it blisters up, and then it cracks open, and it can get kind of oozy, mm-hmm. and even kind of get caked up because it's oozing a lot. And it also seems like it always follows a line, like the leaf will touch you in like a line, so it follows a line. Of course, if you get in it really bad, you don't necessarily see lines of it, but when I say lines of it, I guess I mean like lines of blisters. If you get it really bad, of course, it can be like your whole arm. I've had it that bad before. But I think the number one product I recommend, and we talked about this earlier, was the calamine lotion. It's cheap, and the product works great. The only thing is you're going to have like dried, pink-looking arms if you use it. I still think that's the best.
But it does work.
If you get into some poison ivy and you know right away, you're like, oh, I just got into some poison ivy, I would just go inside and wash the areas, or maybe even change all my clothes. Use some Dawn soap, because that can actually break up oil. So it can break up the oils from the plant and actually remove it. So maybe you can even prevent from having any kind of allergic reaction to it at that point. There's also Ivy Dry is another product I know I've recommended in the past. And it's more expensive than calamine lotion. It works really well. And I would offer that to somebody, but I would still say, hey, calamine works great and it's cheap. Just apply it with some cotton balls and you'll be fine.
Right. I wanted to ask you while we're talking about this. My husband is one of those people who tends to get poison ivy often. And even if someone's mowing, I swear, someone's mowing in the area and hits it, he gets poison ivy. I mean, he's extremely allergic to poison ivy.
Why? Is that stuff to go airborne?
Well, I mean, we have always said that it cannot be possible, but it happens to him every year, and it's occasionally he has to actually go get a shot for it.
Wow.
So I'm curious, is that just a steroid shot, Jeremy? Is that what it is when he goes to get, when it won't clear up, because this happens occasionally, or it will begin spreading and he'll have it all over? Is that what the vaccine is that he goes and gets? Is that just a steroid to help kick it?
Yep, that's all it is. It's something to kind of help give you less of an immune response to something.
Yeah.
So absolutely, that's what he's getting. One other thing, as far as preventing poison ivy, they actually do have a product out there called Ivy Block. That's like a lotion that you put on, so it's almost like sunblock, but it's for poison ivy, and it's supposed to actually prevent you from getting it. So if you know you're going to be in some flower beds or areas of your property that has poison ivy, then maybe try that product. I have used it in the past and didn't get poison ivy, but then again, I didn't know I was in poison. As far as I know, I wasn't in poison ivy.
Okay.
So
I've never heard of that. I mean, it's worth a shot.
Yeah, I can't speak to how well it actually works, but I know it's out there, and I would recommend trying. If somebody gets poison ivy really bad and they're out doing something, then I might try that.
Okay.
As far as getting it in the air, I think it's technically not airborne, but if you're around somebody who's mowing in areas that are that have poison ivy, of course, the act of mowing can get particles in the air, and it's the same thing with burning. If you're burning poison ivy, you're gonna get those particles in the air, which may still contain some of the oil on them. So if you get it, if you get it on you, then there's a chance you get poison ivy.
That's a good point.
So there's definitely some truth to it being airborne when you think of it in situations like that.
That makes sense. A lot of people burn their ditches.
Sure. No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
That makes a lot of sense. It's just, he's unfortunately one of those people that it just seems to latch on to.
So your hubby's gets it here and there, and then Jeremy, you said you had it. Is it bad? Is it something that's crazy bad, like itchy?
Oh.
Yeah,
Look at him. Yeah.
Yes, of course I've had poison ivy. I've had it in areas that nobody wants to have it. I'm sure anybody who goes out in the woods is maybe had similar situations. But I spent a summer clearing fence rows on a farm, and I had gotten it really bad, just all the way up both my arms, and it was very unpleasant. I never went in for a steroid shot or anything because I knew it would eventually go away. But it takes a good 2 weeks for it to go away.
Wow.
Oh, it drives my husband crazy.
So you look like the guys on like a walker. You look like the Walking
almost.
Dead dude.
That's funny. So is it, this is a good point too. When it is oozing, someone gets the blisters, they can ooze. Is it or is it not contagious at that point?
I think there's some controversy about whether it's contagious or not. Because
isn't it the oils from the plant that's supposed to be?
I would say that once you get all cleaned up and, you've taken a shower and you've gotten all the oil off you, I would say that it's not contagious.
Yeah. We've never gotten it from my husband, and who has it all the time, it seems like.
Some people say it's absolutely contagious, and maybe it is. I can't say I would like to say with 100% certainty that it's not, but I'm not going to be rubbing somebody who has poison ivy.
Yeah, definitely not.
Really
Definitely, we're not going to test
Well,
the theory.
and I'm gonna test this theory because you're husband and wife.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you haven't, I'm sure you hug them and kiss them and whatever.
Certainly, even
Right.
snuggling up at night.
Right.
If
Get out of here.
no, it doesn't bother me.
That's what I'm
I've never
saying.
been
So
afraid
that's
of it, and
perfect.
I've never gotten it from him. And honestly, I don't know even Jeremy if you would know this, but yeah, knock on wood, I'm not sure, but I think I'm immune to it. I don't want to say that out loud and then end up getting it.
That you just said
Well,
that.
I have to tell you, I've never in my life had it, and even when other people that I've been with in the same areas have gotten it, I never have gotten it, and I'm going to admit this on air, and this is so stupid, but in 4th grade one time, my best friend and I came up with this brilliant plan that if we both had poison ivy and had to stay home from school, we could talk on the phone all day. So we intentionally rolled in poison ivy. She got poison ivy.
And you didn't.
I did not. So
I
I don't
can't
know if
believe
that
you
was
just said
karma,
that.
just telling me, haha, you're not going to get your way, or if I literally am just for whatever reason, not allergic to it. I don't know. So, and as an adult, I've never tested the theory because I don't want to be miserable. I've seen my husband go crazy, just itching everywhere. And so I have not ever tested that.
Did your
theory
mom know
myself.
that story ever?
Definitely as a kid, I didn't tell her. I don't know if I've ever told her since. It's kind of funny. I've told my kids because I've laughed and said, don't ever try that. I will know if you do that.
I just had someone say we thought she was crazy, and I'm saying, but she is. Yeah. But that was crazy.
Funny.
But that's a typical kid.
It was 4th grade.
Of
please,
course
come
it
on,
was.
So
No, I'm with you.
But it's funny, I didn't get it. So I've always wondered if maybe I'm immune to it, but I don't want to test it now, as an adult. So anyway, who knows?
Jeremy, let's roll around in the poison ivy together.
But he's never, even when his little, the blisters on his arms and stuff have seeped, I've never gotten it, but neither have the children. So I assume, like Jeremy said, that once he's showered, he comes in, especially if he's doing yard work, and showers instantly to help try to prevent it.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
But so once that's done, I'm never concerned about the kids getting it or anything like that, So anyway, all right, we'll move on from poison
Ask
ivy.
the Pharmacist, Younger Life
Thank
Live.
you so much.
But that was
Jeremy.
a great piece.
It is.
I mean,
and
I like that. It helps.
It's important, especially this time of year. Everyone and kids are all, they're exploring
All
out
of
in the
us.
woods, and they're all over yard work. You're cleaning out those ditches and those fence rows and stuff like that. And yeah, poison ivy is there. I mean, it's everywhere.
Google pictures, not to be a dork, because that's what I did, because I really didn't know what it looked like.
I'm going to tell you a song that my son learned in preschool.
Okay.
It's not really a song, but it's a rhyme. Leaves of 3, let it be. That's what they tell them, because poison ivy plants are leaves of 3,
Did not know that.
So
I thought there was going to be a little bit more. Leaves of 3, leave it alone, or whatever you just
no,
said.
let it be.
Let
Leaves
it be.
of 3, let it be. So, it's cute because my son
It is
remembers
cute.
that from a couple years ago. And whenever we're out, any plant that has 3 leaves, it doesn't matter. He's like, don't touch it. It might be poison ivy. It has 3 leaves. So we just let it go. It's cute.
I'm liking that.
Yeah.
There's a new one, Jeremy, on the Ask the Pharmacist side for you to teach your little ones
Yeah.
as they get older. That's awesome. All right, so we've got some other questions and
We
some
do.
other things we want to tackle.
We do. This one concerns pink eye, which
Okay.
I know is extremely contagious
Mm-hmm.
from person to person. But is there anything over the counter that can be used to actually clear up pink eye?
Yeah, so pink eye is an actual infection, so it's being caused by some type of bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say that there's no over-the-counter products that have antibiotics in them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing technically over-the-counter that is going to actually treat and clear up pink eye. So there's only 2 ways that you could really get over pink eye. Is either your body clears it on its own over time, or you need to have an antibiotic to help clear it. So whenever somebody comes into the pharmacy and they would say, hey, my son or daughter has pink eye, here it is. Is there anything that you can recommend over the counter for it? There's 2 things that I'm always really concerned about, and that is children's eyes and children's ears. So if anybody comes in and I suspect it's an infection of any type, I immediately tell them, don't try any over-the-counter products, just go see your doctor right now.
That's a good point. And
Yep.
I agree. In our own experience, whenever the kids have gotten pink eye, I would be afraid to let it clear up on its own because it gets so yucky so fast. We just call the doctor and, go in and get on antibiotics right away. I mean, I can't imagine, I don't know how long that would take, but I would imagine it's misery on a different level. It might not be itchy like the poison ivy we were just talking about, but that gooping and that, their eyes are just, it makes my eyes water thinking about it. It does, my eyes are, I'm sensitive to eyes too, Jeremy. So the thought of that, just, I can't imagine letting that go, So I did want to relay that question so that.
And actually, there are some products that might actually help with the symptoms.
Okay.
Like it might help relieve the red eyes, or might help with the swelling. But it's nothing I even want to recommend because I really don't even want to talk about it.
Right, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think the appropriate thing is just to go in and see the doctor.
Yeah.
There are some eye infections that can actually cause you to go blind.
Ooh.
And I don't want to be the one person that keeps somebody from getting medical attention because, it'll go away on its own.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, definitely
no.
That'd be the one rare case where somebody has a bad eye infection that they now can't treat.
Yeah.
And they end up going blind.
Well, it's
Man,
never
those are
worth
your
that. Get
tools,
into the
God
doctor.
forbid.
Yes,
Eyes and ears,
absolutely.
always go to the doctor.
Yes, very good point. Very good.
It does it normally, and I've seen this even just as a young kid, then just through the years. If you touch the one eye, normally it goes to the other one. It seems like it spreads.
An eye infection?
real
Certainly.
quick,
It's very contagious.
Like you touch your eyes, you're done.
One of my children my 6-year-old came home from kindergarten in the middle of the school year, and said someone had pink eye at school. I said, oh, great, because it is so contagious. I didn't want it to run through the house. And, you're right as far as the symptoms, Jeremy. I myself, I love to use, products if my eyes are red or irritated, but I would be afraid to ever put those in the kids' eyes, especially with an eye infection, because it may not make or allow the antibiotic to work as well. That's what I would be afraid of. So, luckily, my kids dread eye drops of any sort, so I would never do that anyway. You're right. Get medical
Here's a
attention.
great question for you, Jeremy, if you don't mind throwing this, tying it into different things that happen to all people of all ages. Can you ask, lice is running rampant in one of the daycare centers in Indiana. My son, we think he has it. Is there any kind of over-the-counter products that would work with lice?
Oh.
That's a crazy,
I feel
crazy.
so sorry
So
for you.
do I. Because that's something you have to tackle and comb out here, and you have got to be diligent. You're laughing.
I'm laughing.
It's crazy.
I'm laughing just because I am one of those parents that freaks out at the word lice. One of my oldest in second grade got it, and we didn't know it until I noticed it in my preschooler's hair at the time. It was my second daughter.
What do you mean? You noticed
Well,
it?
what I noticed actually was her scratching her head.
Okay.
Different than like digging at it. Like I just noticed her scratching, and I thought, oh, that's not normal. And I just panicked because I wasn't for sure. I didn't know what a
Right.
louse looked like. I didn't know what a knit looked like really. So I picked through her hair, and I actually went to my mom's work and said, does this look like a knit to you? And she
But
said,
what is it? What is that? What does it look like?
it looks like dandruff, but it sticks to the hair. That's what a knit looks like. I only saw 2 in her hair, and I went to my mom's work and said, is this it? And she said, I think it is. So I called the doctor to make sure. At the time, I only had my 3 girls because my youngest daughter was only 3, and called the doctor to make sure they could all use the chemical treatment that Jeremy will tell you about in a minute. And I did that, and you're only supposed to do that and then comb out the hair and then wait a week or something and then do it again. But that was not good enough. I literally could not stand it. I mean, they sell things to clean the house. Jeremy will tell us about. I did everything. My husband and I, we did our hair. I did the kids, and then I looked up alternative home treatments, home remedies.
Oh my gosh, you're
and,
crazy.
No, listen, for 5 days in a row, we stayed home. Now, Jeremy had to go to work. Jeremy's my husband's name also, pharmacist Jeremy. Just my husband had to go to work, but the girls and I stayed home, and for 5 days did alternative treatments that I looked up online, and we nitpicked. We called it, to pick the things.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Twice a day. We spent a fortune. We bought all new mattress pads, new pillows, new everything. I mean, we bagged up all their stuff like you're supposed to. Clean the house. It was such a nightmare. I was exhausted that after that, anytime anybody mentions lice, even now I'll tell my kids, let me check your hair. If we get a letter from the school that says, oh, there's been a lice outbreak, I was like, let me check your hair, because I just panicked. It was so much work, but it was gone. And, they were like traumatized. Now, if somebody says lice, they think, oh no, mom's going to check her hair.
Mama. So, Jeremy,
but it was only once. That's been a lot of years ago now.
Is there a product that you could offer or at least chat about it on this Ask the Pharmacist segment?
Yeah, so actually there is lice treatment that's over the counter. So the one advantage to maybe getting a prescription is, depending on what kind of insurance you have, if it's fairly cheap for you to go to the doctor or the doctor can write you a prescription, is that it can be covered, so it might be really cheap for you. And it's probably more expensive to just buy it over the counter.
I didn't realize there was a prescription.
So it really just depends on, how much a co-pay would be to go see the doctor and then to get a script. It might be cheaper to go that route if that's something you're thinking about doing. Or you can just go over the counter. There's a product that's called RID.
Yes.
And it's just like, it's kind of like an antibiotic, but it's not really an antibiotic 'cause it's not for bacteria. It's for the little parasites. And you just put it in the dry hair, and you just work it in, and then you're supposed to try to comb all the actual eggs out.
That's got to be hard. Like, can you physically see them that blatant? I mean, like when you're combing, I'm assuming you're taking strands and you're combing up or down. Are you? I mean, either one of you guys?
I know personally. I mean, it's been a lot of years, like I said, but I went through I made the kids lay on the floor with their head in my lap, and I'm like section by section of hair.
Wow.
It took forever.
I was just going to say that. It had to take hours.
That's why I think they're a little traumatized, but we've never had it again. And, whatever. You do what you have to make sure you get rid of it.
Sure.
And, Jeremy's right.
Well, they actually have the RID kit. I believe it comes with a comb and everything to treat the person, help get out of the hair, and also I think maybe to even treat some areas in your home if you need to. So I would definitely check that out. Mm-hmm. They also make some combs that can electrify, I guess, and just kill the eggs. I don't have a lot of experience with them, so I don't know how well they work. But it's probably something you could buy one time, and then you have it, and then you can use it if you ever need it. It might be something that I would try if I was having an issue. There's actually, I believe, a highly resistant lice that has kind of come into the picture, and I believe instead of being like a normal white-looking eggs and stuff, it actually looks pink.
Really?
It's something that I read somewhere on the internet, and that's about all I can really say about it.
Yeah.
Is
that's scary.
If the lice doesn't look like a normal lice, and maybe you think you might have this super lice, then I would go to the doctor.
Absolutely.
So
I read an article as well, Jeremy, about it, and it was called super. There are some super bugs in some states. Indiana was one of them.
Yes.
Where they were having occasional outbursts of super resistant lice. So the general treatments were not working. I think a great thing to remember, though, no matter what, certainly if you think or you do these treatments and it's not going away, go to the doctor. I think the key thing that people don't realize, and Jeremy touched on it a little, is treating the areas of the house. So like I said, I went above and beyond as far as like doing my children's hair, and even my husband and I, it's cute. I had taken a couple pictures of all of us like with head wraps on and all crazy.
That's a holiday card.
Because it's funny, it's cute. I mean, it was funny because we tried to make it like no big deal, but it was a humongous pain. But the thing about the house is, I think a lot of people don't realize if you don't thoroughly take care of your environment as well, it is not going to go away. You may have a clean head for a short period of time, but it's going to come back. Jeremy's right. They sell sprays. I know at night when I would put my kids to bed, I would spray down the couches, the rugs, all of those things, let it set and then vacuum it up. There's directions on it too. I did that repeatedly every night for, like I said, those 5 nights until we got to that next week part where we redid the chemical.
Did you throw away combs, brushes, and stuff
absolutely.
like that?
All that stuff is gone. We bought all new of those. And like I said, new mattress pads, new pillows.
Wow,
because
that's big bucks.
Well, you don't have to do that. That was me freaking out. You can actually, you can wash them on hot, bleach them, or tie them up in bags. Like there's stuffed animals and stuff. That's something that people don't think of either. Generally, it's children. It's passed very easily at school and stuff.
Yes.
And so things that you might not wash, there's stuffed animals, stuff like that, you bag up and tie up. And I believe, Jeremy, if you're aware, I believe it's 2 weeks before you can take it out. What I did is I would spray all of those things, and then I would dry them on high heat for at least 30 minutes just to make sure.
Shirley said to tell you that you could also put stuff in the freezer.
I've never heard that. That makes sense. That makes sense. Absolutely, that makes sense. So, I mean, Jeremy's right though. If you think at all that you have done a round of treatment or something and it's not going away, and you feel as though you've really done a thorough job on your environment, go see your doctor, because this superbug, I mean, if it's only going to keep passing if we don't make sure we take care of it. So, definitely good point. So I hope that listener, wish them the best of luck.
Yes.
Tell them we're sending you good vibes, because that is no fun. And
Mary said she'd come over and do the picking of the hair.
No, Mary has a little bit of anxiety when it comes to lice now, all these years later still.
Now that I know, so I'm going to be walking down the hall with you. Lice.
Isn't that funny? It's so silly. Anyways, so another listener had a great question. And this is something we've talked about, the vegan lifestyle. Occasionally, we've had vegan chefs in, and we had Steve and Lydia in who had turned their lifestyle
Chef
around.
Melody.
Yes, and so if someone is choosing to attempt a vegan lifestyle, they want to know, are there specific vitamins that they need to be sure to take, and what are the typical deficiency concerns?
Oh, that's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when you're eating fruits and vegetables, of course, there's lots of vitamins and minerals in what you're eating.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say concerning actual, vitamins and minerals, I wouldn't really think of any deficiency that comes to my mind.
Okay.
And it actually sounds like you've had some experts in who probably know far more about this than I do. But just on a general level, the first thing that I really think of that comes to my mind is that when you go to a complete vegan, there's actually degrees, well, not necessarily degrees, but there's a vegetarian and there's a vegan.
Right.
And I really like to just define that vegans is no animal products whatsoever. Vegetarians may still have like cheese or maybe some other kind of like animal products.
Mm-hmm.
But, their main sustenance is actual vegetables. Vegan is no animal byproducts, no animal products.
Right.
So the first thing that comes to my mind is protein.
Mm-hmm.
So I have heard of cases of people becoming deficient in protein if they go to a completely vegan diet. And I know that there's specific proteins, and unfortunately I don't know them off the top of my head, that are the main source of those are going to be in an animal product.
Okay.
And so I would specifically look into what proteins you're not getting in an actual vegan diet, and then try to tailor my diet to try to find some type of nut or bean
Right.
that has that protein.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I don't know the protein off the top of my head.
Oh, it's
but
okay.
That would be my area of focus is, am I getting all the essential proteins? Proteins are essential building blocks to your muscles, and basically proteins just make up almost your entire body. I mean, your body uses so many proteins, it's important that you're getting protein.
Yeah.
And some proteins are used for certain processes and others for other processes. And I just know that there are some proteins that aren't as prolific in a vegan diet. There's just not a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would do some research on protein would be the biggest thing to do.
So if I'm hearing you right, that makes perfect sense. The deficiency concern, obviously, being protein, you're not aware of a vitamin or a supplement that would fix that. It's more or less they need to research the proper natural ways to get it that are not animal related, right?
Yeah, I would say that there's no supplement or anything I would really recommend.
Okay.
Do you really need to take a daily vitamin? If you're a vegan and you're eating, healthy vegetables and fruits every day, chances are you're getting plenty of vitamins. You don't even really need to take one. My main thing would be yes. Research the proteins and see which ones that are not in a vegan diet, and see if you can't try to tailor it so that you're at least getting some of those proteins.
All right, that sounds good.
Here's a good question. Are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
Chris asked a question. Nails are brutal. She said they're very brittle and brutal. She said the two B's. Is there a vitamin, she said, relating to what you were talking about vitamin-wise, that she could take to help her nails? She doesn't know, and she hasn't gone to a doctor, obviously. So can you potentially help with that one, if you wouldn't mind?
Yeah. So actually there is a vitamin deficiency. I think it's a vitamin B, I believe, can affect your nails. actually are some disease states that can affect it too.
Really?
So if you are having issues with like your thyroid, I would definitely follow with my doctor to say, hey, my nails are being brittle, and if you're hyperthyroid, you might have an issue with that. So something like that. If you're taking vitamins already and it hasn't gotten any better, then it's definitely worth going into the doctor. But I believe it's vitamin B, and you could take a regular vitamin, and it might help with that. Again, if you're having some kind of thyroid issue, or you think that you do, there's lots of symptoms to having thyroid issues. You can have increased heart rate. You can have anxiety. You can have issues with your hair, whether it's falling out or also being brittle. If you're having excessive weight loss or weight gain, if you're having a hypothyroid issue, then you're going to be losing weight. If you're having a hypothyroid issue, too low of thyroid hormone, then you'd be gaining weight. So if you're having any of those symptoms also, it's probably worth just going in and seeing the doctor, because they can just take a TSH level, and they can check to see that your thyroid is working properly or okay. So if you don't have all those other symptoms, try a vitamin and see if it gets better. But if it doesn't, something like that would take longer than a couple weeks to get better. It'd probably be a month plus. As long as you feel fine and that's your only symptom, I would say try some vitamins, and then go see your doctor.
Absolutely.
After a while, if it's not getting better.
Absolutely. Good point. Along the vitamins, there was a comment and a question from another listener that said there are so many different brands and types of vitamins. How can we choose the best quality? How would someone be aware? I know that those are not necessarily regulated. Is there a way that they can look those up, or a way that a website or something that somebody could find out if they are rated at all?
Yeah, so some dietary supplements follow what they call is a CGMP, which means it's current good manufacturing processing.
Okay.
And so there are some places that say that they're following that, and so I would look for that label. When I was through school and I had been rotating through different pharmacies and things, I went to this independent pharmacy that only carried the brand Now. And that's just spelled like Now, N-O-W. It's like a orange bottle. I think the labels are purple on it. They only carried those vitamins and supplements because they followed CGMP processing.
Okay.
So that's just one brand name that I can just recommend right off the bat. But other than that, I would look. It should be labeled somewhere on the bottle that says CGMP on it someplace.
Is there a specific place?
Right,
That's what I'm asking.
exactly.
Like, you would just see those letters. Is that going to be, like?
Is that I should buy that kind
like
of thing?
FDA? There's
Right.
like a stamp of that. So
Right.
you know what I mean?
A
Like,
stamp
is
of
that going to
approval,
be?
right.
Yeah. Is there going to be an area that is pretty standard? Is it going to be near the new nutritional?
That's the area I would look
Okay.
at. I can't say that all products put it in the exact same spot, but
Okay.
I would look for that. You can also probably go on the website. In fact, I might even just visit the FDA website
Okay.
or just Google CGMP vitamins
Okay.
and see
good.
what comes up. I believe as far as manufacturing, processing, some of that stuff is regulated. Maybe not necessarily every little thing that goes into it and the amounts that are appropriate or not, but there may be some regulation there, and I would
Okay.
actually just do a Google search for CGMP and then vitamins.
CGMP.
I think there are some vitamins out there that, some of the brand name ones are probably fine, like Centrum.
What about one a day?
Yeah, one a day would be fine too. I would think those are fine. Again, you can probably jump on the website and see if they follow CGMP or not.
Okay.
And so that's the first place I would go if I were to choose a product.
What does that stand for? I'm not being a dork, but what does CGMP stand for?
Yeah, it stands for Current and Good Manufacturing Practices.
Thank you.
Yes. I think that's great. That's great.
That's
piece of
great information. Phenomenal.
For sure. Okay. The next question, I know we're getting close. I'm going to try to rattle some of these off. They said, what would you recommend if someone came to you for tooth pain? And can adults use the same products for teething babies?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of the products are actually the same for infants and for adults. Usually it's just a type of like topical benzocaine.
Right.
I do know, I can't remember, it's called Dentec. There is a product called Dentec,
Okay.
and that's basically like, it comes in these two little vials, and you have to like mix them together. And so say you had a crown that fell off, or you had a filling that fell out. It's actually like a filling,
Wow.
and it's temporary.
Okay.
So say it's Friday night, and you know that you're probably not going to be able to get to the dentist till Monday. You could probably go in and get that. It's like a temporary filling, and it would probably last you through the weekend and at least until you get to the doctor.
Certainly for adults only, correct?
Only for adults, yeah, I would not use that on infants whatsoever.
Or even children. I mean, even if you had a
Isn't
child.
it more of a masker though? Like it masks the pain or it masks the situation. Like it kind of just, it doesn't, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, obviously,
Right.
but I'm just saying. So if you use this product, it's just until you could get to a
That's
doctor.
it. That's what we're
That's what
saying.
I'm
You
correct.
need to call your doctor regardless. If you're having any tooth issues, they aren't going to go away on their own.
Yeah,
But but at least there is something. I mean, that's how I took the question too. Is more or less just how to manage it until you're able
Yeah.
to get in. Because I don't live with tooth pain, people.
Oh my
that's
gosh,
a
that's
misery.
insane.
That's misery.
Because that goes jaws, ears, no throat. Think about our doc we had
Right.
here
Dr.
not too long ago.
Bancroft last Friday.
He was
right?
awesome, right?
Mhm. He was fantastic.
That's
Ear, nose, and
crazy.
throat. So I mean, absolutely. So that I've never heard of Dentec though, Jeremy. Thank you. I think that's a great point. If you do have a filling that comes out or something, until you're able to get in.
You know, as far as like infants go, well, they also have topical stuff you can use too, but it's just like using a benzocaine and a topical analgesic that is only going to last for a little while.
Right.
So, yes, ultimately you need to go see your dentist for that. As far as infants go and like kids who are teething, I don't think there's any real magic. There's not a magic fix for it.
Yeah.
So
Poor babies.
the things that I think I like the best
Wicked.
is they do have teethers that you can like put in the freezer, so they're like frozen,
Yeah.
and that can kind of numb down the area. Of course, if it's a small child, you can use Tylenol. Then you can use ibuprofen a little bit older. I would only do that at the direction of a physician or a healthcare provider. They also have the topical stuff. I actually remember, on our kids when they're having completely inconsolable moments when
Yeah.
they're teething, I might put some of that topical, I think it's just called infant topical teething gel. I would just put that on there, and it might help, and then I'd give them some Tylenol, and, there's different types of pacifiers you can try. They have ones you can put, like, little fruit in. I think distraction is the key for...
It is.
What do they give to parents at that
Yeah,
point?
honestly,
I remember this when Jeremy said
it's rough.
Marcus, I thought, oh my gosh.
Probably Xanax.
No kidding. That's rough. I mean, that's a rough time no matter what.
It
There's
is.
just that's a rough.
You're going to have that time. I mean,
Yeah.
if you think you're going to go through all the teething and you're not going to have a inconsolable time, it's...
You're crazy. If
you're
you think
crazy.
that, you're nuts.
It's
It's not going
gonna
to happen.
they're going to be whiny. And,
Of course.
and you're not going to know why. And then they're going to have a runny nose. And
Yes.
you think that they're sick. But in my experience, teething kids can have a runny nose. So just because they have a runny nose and they're acting like they're sick and they don't feel well, check their teeth. If they're
Yeah.
getting a couple molars in, that's
Good
probably
point.
why.
Well, they're so bumped up
Yes.
and they're just miserable. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that stinks. That's a rough time. Someone asked, how often do new medications get released to the public? I mean, I would imagine all the time. I kind of thought this was a strange question, but still wanted to pass it along. Are there standard times that new medicines are supposed to come out, or do they just come out whenever?
They basically just come out when they make it through the complete approval
Yeah.
process. Some medications may be fast line approval, like say they start doing the initial phase 1 trials and it's working so it has such a great benefit that they can actually put it on a fast track and it'll come out sooner. They can bypass some of the approvals or have a less of an approval process. That can occur, but
Okay.
typically, it's several years for a drug to actually come out.
Yes.
That's brand new for a brand new indication, and it works in a new way.
That's good. I mean, I like that it takes that long. I feel like at least then there's been a lot of testing and there's time
Yeah.
for side effects to actually appear. So,
But they're coming out all the time.
okay, yes. Many people suffer migraines this time of year related to the humidity. Is there any, little tips or tricks that you could share that might help kick it any quicker?
Yeah, I wish I had an easy answer for this. I feel like migraine is one of those areas that there's so many different things that may or may not work for people that it is really hard to give advice on a migraine medication.
Right.
As far as, I think in general when you're treating it, a lot of people have some kind of aura, like they feel it coming on. I think it's appropriate that once you feel like you're going to have a migraine to try to preventively stop it from occurring. So, of course, the one thing I'm a pharmacist. There's a drug class called the triptans, like sumatriptan. There's Maxalt, rizatriptan.
Okay.
There's a bunch of different triptans, and just because one doesn't work right doesn't mean that another one won't.
Okay.
Some of those drugs are expensive.
Are they prescription? Something you would actually seek from your doctor?
They are prescription.
Okay.
So if you suffer from like moderate to severe migraines, I think that one of those drugs it's just something you have to have on you.
Okay.
Because you're going to be miserable.
Okay.
I kind of feel like this question is asking for like an over-the-counter, more of a natural fix maybe.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there are for migraines.
Okay.
I see things on the internet sometimes, or even I'm cruising around on Facebook, and they're like, "This fixes migraines. You put your feet in cold water."
I've heard that same
Get
thing.
out of here.
That might work. I suffer from like tension headaches. I don't really think it's a migraine, but like sometimes when I get them, it can be debilitating to some degree. So,
Certainly.
it can make me sometimes not want to do anything all day.
What do you
I don't get
do?
them that often, but when I get one, I am absolutely miserable. So I can completely relate to somebody who has terrible migraines. That's probably 1,000 times worse than what I actually feel. So I know how bad it can be. But like, what works for me? I tell you what, I use Excedrin migraine over the counter. I'll take a couple of those, and then I start drinking coffee right away, and I put an ice pack on the back of my head. And I feel like within an hour, it's not always the case. Sometimes it'll linger all day long. But I feel like if I feel that headache coming on and I do that right then it's just not going to be as bad.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
It's not
Very good.
contained completely. And I think some of these home remedies do work. And I would just encourage people that as long as it's not a crazy a crazy one, to go ahead and try it. If it's something that just seems kind of strange, I might ask a pharmacist, ask a physician first before you try, taking some kind of weird
Concoction.
drug or something to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
And by the way, you're not a doctor and I'm not a doctor. Right there,
Yes,
Mary Anthony.
That's for sure.
Thank you.
But Jeremy, thank you for
You're
all of the
awesome.
great information. I hope that helps out a lot of people. Thank you.
Absolutely.
We'll talk
Thanks,
to you in
buddy.
2 weeks. Thanks so
Sounds
much.
good. I'll see you.
All right.
All right. Oh, that was a great show.
I
Great
know.
questions.
He always has such great information.
Can I
honestly.
can I throw something out there to you?
Yeah.
Lice.
Oh, don't even.
Don't
It's
even
funny.
go
It's
there.
been a lot of years, but oh boy, I'm not kidding you.
I'm going to
We
tell
were
you.
quite traumatized over that little event.
Great information on migraines, great information on stuff in general. Well, on behalf of us all at Younger Life Live, Mary Anthony out live at the LaPorte County Fair, all Fair Week, starting July 10th. We'll see the encore presentations the following day right here on Younger Life. Are you excited?
I am excited.
I'm excited.
I'm a little nervous. I don't know what to expect, so we'll
all right.
see. It'll
Thanks
be
to
good.
Sanders, our executive producer. Have a great day. I'm Rick Federici.
Thank you. I'm Mary Anthony.
All right, AM 1420 WIMS. A little Ask the Pharmacist rewind here. Ricky Federici on AM 1420 WIMS Michigan City, a Girard Media company, streaming live at WIMSradio.com. Thank you, LaPorte Hospital.
CBS News, I'm Steve Kaif, and new email revelations from WikiLeaks appear to blur the lines around the Clinton